As promised, here's a segment from my CPS video exploitation series. In this clip, you will see Miss Irma Thornton, Sampson County DSS employee, pose as an impartial moderator for a meeting in which my dad was given 3 hours to attend. Nobody told him this was going to turn into a CFT. It seems DSS is trying to take me away again, even after Judge Stevens has already returned me home to him. I wonder if Miss Irma Thornton's related to Sampson County Sheriff Jimmy Thornton, who issued an arrest warrant on my dad for hanging up with him when their phone conversation was over. Well, here you go.
Could I mention something? I'm not sure if we went around the room and made sure everyone
We did not.
knows who everyone is. I know that Mr. Davis, you know myself as the DSS director.
And I'm Andrea Rayner, one of the foster care supervisors.
I'm Jane Dudley.
I'm Angela Antill. I'm a foster care supervisor.
Raquel Nieves, foster care social worker.
And again, I'm Irma Thornton. I'm a child advancing facilitator. And I call Mr. Davis, I'm a facilitator. When I'm called and asked to do a facilitation, I come.
I know.
I have
I'm
no
not,
idea
I'm not blaming
what this
you,
is
ma'am, I
about.
promise.
I
And what was
just-
your name again?
My name is Irma Thornton.
Irma Thornton.
Yes, sir. Family team with me before to know what this is. But Mr. Davis, if you need to read this, please do so.
I think I don't know what's going on.
Well, as soon as this is signed, we're going to tell you.
And it was told by Ms. Worley, correct me if I'm wrong, that these were recommendations but not necessarily carved in stone. And at that time, I said, we're going to court, and anything a judge tells me to do, I'll do. And we went to court, and the judge said, bring in a letter from them, and Cheyenne goes home. Yes or no? Yes or no?
I think the CFT was after that was
No.
stated by Judge Hardison.
The
You had
CFT
stated that you had taken a letter at the last CFT.
I did.
David.
I did. I had taken the first letter. They took, guardian ad litem said, how do we know it's really real? And it's on Commonwealth Health. So Judge Stevens went back. Mr. Bradshaw actually drafted it. They agreed to it. Now they don't like it.
No, it's not that they don't like it. The Cheyenne's home.
Yeah. That's it. My stance is that's it.
Okay. So I think you're not going to do anything else that they ask you to do until a judge tells you to do it. Is that your position?
My opinion is, legally, I had the right for my daughter to come home, and you had an affirmative duty to return her home. To return Cheyenne Davis, the word return means to restore to its original condition.
If, regardless of that, they still want you to work on certain things. Are you willing to do that without a court addressing that specifically?
If they were simple things that weren't intrusive and that they weren't going to further destroy Cheyenne's mental capacity, you guys have put her through a lot, whether you know it or not. You caused her to have trust issues, authority figure issues, because no one has been consistent. Her father has been. No one has taken her to everything she needs. No one explains to her why. They just say, because I told you to. No one has given her any reason to trust them here. If you do not see that, I don't know how to make you see that. And no one here can tell me one good thing they've done for Cheyenne in 8 months, can you?
Mr. Davis.
Can you? That's a simple question. I would like to know what one thing you've done for my daughter in 8 months.
Well, I think because we've been trying to get a service agreement implemented and trying to provide services and have been unable to do that. I think I acknowledge that
You
progress
may
hasn't
have
been
cognitive distortions or paranoid ideations, as Dr. Matala has said, because there's been none, counselor. Let's be, you think, you believe. I'm asking you, show me a piece of paper that says you did anything for my daughter. Anything.
Mr. Davis, you've indicated in the past, and maybe even in here today, that you feel like you understand, you read a lot about the state policy and guidelines for us. Have you read, you've been reading those things?
A lot of advice comes from a federal prosecutor and you might know Miss Meyer. She's with the Rutherford Institute. She sued you guys over an educational, which feel about violating a young man's rights by strip searching him at Union School.
So have you read the policy, Mr. Davis, that
Yes,
was
I have.
Ms. Bradshaw's question?
Yeah, my question is of y'all. I can quote them to you.
That was a smear.
I can
Sir?
quote them
I
to
said
you.
that was a smear.
I think that's one of the reasons why we haven't been able to.
You don't like my attitude, I could care less whether you like my attitude. And I corner you and ask you what you've done to my daughter, and that's what you want to do is hem me up and say, have I read the laws? You don't think I'm going to be a smart ass back at you?
Mr. Davis, I was.
Tell me what you did. Let's get over that hurdle. I'll give you that whole board.
We're gonna need to stick to the purpose of this meeting.
What was
Okay.
it? Nobody told me before I came here except that you guys were all going to be here and that there had been misunderstandings. There had been everything but Miss America. And here's the deal. It's because you haven't done what you said you were going to do and you haven't followed the policies.
Mr. Davis, I will say this, as a director of this agency, been here 24 and a half years. Never has there been a dozen or more staff, the director, everyone involved in a matter. I would challenge anyone to say that we haven't collectively worked together hard on these matters to make sure that things are done. We are only doing our jobs when we ever get involved with an abuse or neglect report.
Where
It
were
is
you
all
when she
about
was
the
held
child.
out of school for 2
Okay.
weeks straight then, Director? Which one of those 12 is responsible for that?
We don't need to get into
We
the back and
should,
forth
though. I mean, I'm
here.
hearing how many they got there, but were they getting together to help me or colluding to conspire against me because you don't like me?
See this conspiring, everyone conspiring against you?
Mhm.
I can tell you that I've been involved with this, obviously, since everything started in late February. And that constant feedback to our staff and whoever's involved and belief that there's conspiracy
I haven't seen
and all that
any emails
is
since y'all told me to
contributing
stop
to
sending
the
them.
delays and the problems.
How am I delaying? My attitude delays your job. You're unprofessional then.
We're
If you
trying to
think
keep this
that I'm the
professional, Mr.
hardest,
Davis.
am I really that hard to get along with compared to all the DSS cases that you guys face? The problem is you bit the wrong one. That's the only problem. You're not used to somebody like me that's going to stand up for civil rights. I'm told by a GAL attorney in court, if Mr. Davis will forget about his Fourth Amendment rights, this will go faster. Why don't we forget about the 19th and 14th? And that way we can just take away all you women's right to vote and make you slaves.